Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time zone in which you are. Many people are asking some of us, particularly the senior citizens, those who have lived a reasonably long enough life, to give our insights about the life after coronavirus or COVID 19. Particularly, an issue of interest is to me is to prepare ourselves for the life after that. I am not sure if the coronavirus is going to be totally out of our lives. I suppose it is going to remain there for some time, at least I suppose for a year, if not more. And I believe strongly in the capability of our scientists to be able to come up with solutions to be able to totally eradicate it and so on. However, what we have gone through in the last couple of months, if you look at the total month of March and April 2020, it's very memorable in our life, certainly in my life. For a couple of months to be stuck to the house, of which almost about 1.5 months not being able to move out and doing a lot of things online. It's a great experience. I don't say it's a painful experience, but for some I can imagine that it may have been painful experience. Uh, Work from home, online education, online transactions of business, and so many things have happened in the last 1.5 months. So, how do we prepare if this kind of a situation is likely to continue? Uh, they may not be locked down, but there will be always a little bit of a fear of coronavirus, and it is necessary to maintain social distancing. It is also necessary to um, have probably change our appearance to cover our nose and face with masks and so on, and avoid social gatherings, places, and things like that, both at workplace as well as in the society and things like that. So let us assume that this kind of precautions will continue. Even if they don't continue, if we are lucky that everything gets sorted out by the first week of June or the end of June, and there is no more coronavirus, life is not going to be the same again. This is because I think we have already gone through 2 months of uncertainty, which has thrown some of the businesses out of gear, some of the work out of gear, and so on. So, whatever may be the reason, how do we prepare ourselves for the future? How do we prepare ourselves for the future? This is what I like to share my thoughts. I'd like to suggest that we prepare ourselves at three levels. One, as individuals and as members of our own families. So, there are certain things we need to do as individuals and as members of the families. So, we need to regulate our life. The second thing I want to focus is on regulating our work life and workplace life, including organizations and our career. The third thing I like to say is how do we regulate what is it that we are going to do in the society as members of the society and so on. First, life as an individual and in our families. It is bound to change. Uh, if it's not going to change it to your advantage. What has coronavirus taught? It has taught us the pleasure of taking care of oneself, reducing vulnerabilities, taking more responsibility, more hygiene, living together, living independently and interdependently as a family, helping each other, doing all work, jadu, pota, washing bartans, utensils, making curries, man, uh, woman, child, didn't matter, everyone started partaking in this, sharing, adjusting in food, in clothes, in space, in computers, television, and other instruments, taking care. We listened to each other. We had a lot more personal conversations. And we also discovered that our needs are few and we can live with a pair of clothes. For almost a month and a half, I was just not changing my clothes apart from using alternately 2-3 lungis and 2-3 t-shirts. Simple food, exercises, yoga, and so on. I mean, these are all phenomenal changes that have taken place, brought in certain amount of discipline. Now, in terms of planning for future, my suggestion is, can we continue this post-COVID-19? Simple life, what should we continue? Continue simple life, care for health, care for each other, listen to each other, understand each other, respect each other, help and empower each other. Also, can we work to reduce our vulnerabilities at individual and family level? We are all vulnerable. We are vulnerable in terms of health, in terms of our finances, our economic vulnerability. We have psychologically, we are vulnerable, some of us, and vulnerability in terms of skill redundancy. So can we plan for all these vulnerabilities in future? Now, what do I mean by planning for the future in terms of vulnerabilities? Now, first vulnerability, take care of health of each and everyone. I think you should list the names of all the members of your family on a piece of paper, put their age, and list down what are the areas, the health areas where they need to be careful. Somebody may have to control their blood sugar well, somebody weight, somebody the blood pressure, somebody may have to control anything. I mean, somebody may be lucky that you don't need to control anything. But certainly, I think you need to continue to be smart enough. So, assess each individual's vulnerabilities and plan for overcoming them. Build resistance. Make sure that you have the right diet. Plan your diet. Plan food. Plan vitamins. Plan checkups, physical exercises. Plan to continue yoga. Besides wearing masks, maintaining social distance, and avoiding risky places. It's important to avoid. You may not be wanting to go to the malls the same way as you are going, many festivals the same way as you are doing. I'm not saying that don't celebrate all this, but I think make sure that your vulnerabilities are taken care of. Continue the good habits you acquired and even started in the last 30 days. This is the first way of taking care of your vulnerability about your health. Second dimension is plan and manage your economic vulnerabilities, financial vulnerabilities. Reassess your savings, capital needs for yourself, family and children, savings and requirements. Some of you may have been accumulating money for your children to send them abroad and want them to go to US universities and put $25,000, $50,000, etc. You might be changing your mind having looked at the way the global scenario is, and you might rediscover that probably India is the better place to live and so on. Reassess. I am not suggesting that you should give up your plans. Reassess. Take stock of the dip that you may face in future and replan your living. Simple living, low cost living, minimum needs, cost savings. Plan in terms of what is likely to make you for your future. If you are in your mid-40s for the next 15 to 20 years and post-retirement plans, I think you will have to relook at it. With all the interest rates falling, mutual funds crashing and so on. You need to think. Of course, I would assume that this is the worst of the situation. Things will be only better in future. Manage your learning and happiness. Continue the learning journey you have acquired and started. Listening to webcasts, giving webcasts, reading books, visiting certain amounts, TV serials, continuing productive conversations, social media posts, etc., etc. Continue this and get happiness through communication, dialogues, sharing concerns with friends. And remember, friends is a good source of motivation for you. Continue to network with friends, manage them, take your help, dialogue with them and so on. These are the three ways in which I would recommend you to plan for your future. Plan your vulnerabilities of health, plan your economic vulnerabilities, and plan in terms of your happiness and psychological satisfaction till continuous learning. The second dimension I like to focus is on the work and workplace. Workplace is organization and career. I would like to take three different scenarios. There may not be any changes in your work and workplace, or there may be changes. This includes your job, your designation, your perks, and compensation. First scenario that I like to take is that you are in a company that is not vulnerable. No changes are going to take place. Everything is as before, with marginal or temporary disturbances like small pay cuts, timing changes, performance standards, etc. You are very fortunate if you happen to be a part of this kind of a company. Celebrate and help the less fortunate ones at your workplace. Scenario 2 is you are in an organization with somewhat vulnerable. There are big salary cuts, product changes, market change, nature of work is going to change, working hours will change with some threat of losing job or status, compensation, etc. in future if the organization does not measure up or doesn't cope. Some amount of uncertainty is looming large, but it's not yet hopeless. In this case, go with the company, put up your best, don't lose your self-confidence. Help the organization to build itself by putting as many hours as needed. There is a third scenario, which is a hopeless scenario, highly vulnerable. Job losses are there, company is not doing well, downsizing has started, almost at the verge of closing, matter of time before you are asked to leave or you are already got signals to leave. Bad luck for you, but don't worry, it could have come to anyone. It is just situational, it has happened to you. Let me assure you, this will pass. Don't worry, be confident. Build your skills and be prepared to do any job. Keep acquiring new skills. Decide and list what are your skills. Build on them. Future jobs require versatility. You may be a production man, but you could easily handle marketing or communications or maybe standards, or if not, you can be your own entrepreneur. So future jobs require versatility and hard work, and therefore build your intellectual assets. Manage your capabilities, acquire new capabilities. Don't worry, I think the world is vast and we are not going to let you die of hunger or your family. Everything will be taken care of. Look out, continue, explore, work hard and so on. There will soon be a good news, and who knows, you may be on the top of the world. Remember all those who have come to India after partition with not a single penny in there, and look at, I think, some of them, how they have made their life wonderful and so on. Keep the gains of lockdown and work from home continue in your life. Now, I listed at least about 8 to 9 gains. I think as a result of lockdown, we have more focused work, more efficient work due to measurable and individualized accountability, more autonomy, more recognition of independence and teamwork and collaboration, low cost. We have saved a lot of time, 3 to 4 hours of daily travel time, which is nearly 20% of the work time added. You know your value, and the company also knows. There is self-directed learning and more accountability of the work done and compensation according to the work done and time spent. However, there are issues. Manufacturing is not possible from home. Mutual stimulation and motivation happens only with one-to-one, face-to-face kind of a thing. Personal touch missing. Loneliness of some extroverts who find it too confining. Companies don't have working capital. Companies can't manage 2 months lockdown. Poor planning of the past. Well, there are all solutions for this. My suggestion will be, do what is possible from home. Explore alternative models. If you are a small business, it might work out to be cost effective. Use frequent get-togethers, once a week or fortnight, and community sessions with social distancing norms and web get-togethers. Extroverts should realize it is their personality that creates the issue, and they can create situations for themselves to work on this. Companies will find out. Help them if you can in any way to suit your own, create your own networks, volunteer for salary cuts, and reduce the burden. Companies should learn from this experience and build for the future. Last, I would like to recommend a societal level response to be given by all of us.